Alright, so in this video we're going to multiply and divide fractions. We're going to remember that when we're multiplying fractions, we do top times top, which are numerators, and bottom times bottom, which are the denominators, and we just multiply straight across. And remember, this is different than addition and subtraction, where you have to have those common denominators in order to add and subtract your numerators. So, but when we're multiplying and dividing, we don't have to create those new fractions, those equivalent fractions, having those common denominators. We're just going to multiply straight across, top times top, bottom times bottom. And then when we go into dividing our fractions, this is just the saying that we say, dividing fractions is easy as pie, flip the second and multiply. So you just flip the second fraction and then you do multiplication. So that's not too bad, just remembering the difference between multiplication and division versus addition and subtraction. So here we go. We're going to do a few examples. So remember, we're multiplying across the top. So that's 1 times 2 across the top, 4 times the 5 on the bottom. 1 times 2 is 2, 4 times 5 is 20, and then you always want to reduce your fractions to their lowest form. So both of these are divisible by 2, and so we will say that is 1/10 is our final answer. Okay, so here we go, another one. So we've got 12/5 times negative 13/5. So remember, if that negative sign is inside that parentheses, that's a negative, it's not a minus sign. You still have got one number with the parentheses next to another number, so that is multiplication. So 12 times 13, well, first off, let's say it's positive times a negative, makes it a negative. 12 times 13 on the top is 156. 5 times 5 on the bottom is 25. And then we'll see if that can be reduced. I'm not sure that it can, so it doesn't look like it. So final answer. Just multiplying top times top, bottom times bottom. So here we go again, another example. 7 times 3 on the top, 21. And 8 times 14 on the bottom is 112. And that one would probably reduce. And I want to show you another way of how you can do these. Remember, you can reduce before if you would like. So I'm just going to do this same example. We've got 7/8 times 3/14. Well, remember, you can reduce any top with any bottom. You cannot reduce tops, you cannot reduce bottoms next to each other, but you can reduce any top with any bottom when you're doing multiplication. So we see that 7/8 can't be reduced, and we see the 3/14 can't be reduced, but this 7 here and this 14 here can be reduced to, they're both divisible by 7, and so we can reduce that to a 1 here for the 7 and a 2 there for the 14. The 3 and the 8 can't be reduced, so now we can multiply, and we've already possibly have our reduced fraction. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 8 times 2 is 16. So 21 over 112 should reduce down to 3/16, which looks like both of those would be divisible by 7, which would be a hard one to sort of find, but that is, they're both divisible by 7, and so that reduces to 3/16. And so sometimes if I go ahead and reduce first, then you get that answer in a smaller form to possibly be reduced. Okay, so let's do some division. Remember, dividing fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. So we're going to take the second fraction, always the second one, never the first one. That gives you the wrong answer. And we're going to flip it. So 4/3 then, now times 12 over 11. Okay, well, if we want to, we're seeing that we've got bigger numbers here. We might want to go ahead and reduce. The 4/3 can't be reduced. The 12/11 can't be reduced. But this 12 and the 3 are both divisible by 3. So we could say that is a 1. 12 divided by 3 then is 4. So we can go ahead and reduce there if we like. If you don't like to do that and you want to go ahead and multiply 4 times 12 and 3 times 11, and then reduce, that is perfectly fine. This is just another way to do it. So 4 times 4 is 16, and 1 times 11 is 11, and 16/11 does not reduce, so that should be your final answer. Okay, so you might want to try these last couple on your own, just see if you get the same answer. And then come back and look. So we're going to take -3, flip the fraction, and remember, any whole number is over 1. So 3/1 and 9/20, those will not reduce. The 3 and the 20 won't reduce, so we're just going to have to multiply straight across. Flipping the second one and multiplying. So -3 times 9, that's going to make our fraction negative, so 27/20, final answer. All right, well, what about this one when we have a little binomial over here? Well, we're still just going to do the same thing. We're flipping the second fraction, and now we're going to multiply. But now we're saying 4 times that entire x plus 3, and then 5 times 7 on the bottom. All right, so you've got to use your distributive property and multiply that out. So 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 3 is 12, and that would all be over 5 times 7, which is 35. That would be your final answer, because that's all we could do to that one. Okay, here are your quiz questions right here. So you can go do those in D2L, see how you do, and for your grade in this class. All right, thank you. If you have any questions, be sure to ask on Slack, or shoot me an email through Slack, and I will be more than happy to help you with any of this or any other questions that you're having any kind of struggle with, whether it's exponents or maybe order of operations, any of the things that we're not covering in our 0106, but I would be happy to. I'll make videos for you guys if everybody is asking questions about anything in particular. So y'all be sure to communicate as much as possible, and let's get through all this together. All right, thanks guys.